And as you know, as a musician, you can feel music, right?
Yes, of course.
Like especially if you're in a rock concert, you know, everything moves, right?
Yeah, well, of
you
course.
can literally feel it in your body.
Yeah, it depends on the music. The moment depends on the music, actually.
And also it changes your mood, right?
Yeah, sure.
Because that's why we especially love live concerts, because it brings us into a certain mood.
Yeah.
And why we love certain styles or also certain musicians.
Mm-hmm.
And one possibility with this technology is to also show that these energetic centers are actually real, and also how they change according to when you, for example, hear music or not.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way to do that? I mean, when you send in a photo, can you say this person is listening to the music now because of the vibrations that he gets?
In a photo this will be possible, but also he can also analyze video, so it's not only one photo, so it's a line of photos.
Well, on video there is sound, you know there's music.
Yeah, yes, but even if there is no video, right, and just many photos, right, so there's no sound, there's just many photos.
Oh.
So basically the sound effect, as we can feel, right, stimulates certain parts of our body, certain parts of our brain. Mm-hmm. And as you can see here in the background, we have a picture of where you can see the stimulation of different parts of the brain.
Yes.
So, can I ask you a question about this? Theoretically, let's say, when I have like 60 photos back to back taken from a person, you can back engineer the music that he's listening to or she's listening to.
I don't know how far the technology will go one
theoretically.
day, but theoretically, yes. But what you can definitely do right now, you can understand there is music as part of that picture, even though you don't hear it.
I kind of know that certain type of music fires different parts of your brain. Mm-hmm. Because if it's a music you like, your endorphin levels go up. For that, your part of your brain's that part fires. Yes. So with that, you can understand if that person likes the music that he or she is listening to or not, right?
I am absolutely certain that that can be developed. And I mean, that would be amazing for a musician, right? What's
it
might not be, because the producers lie.
Okay.
Yes, okay.
So,
yeah, I'm thinking about actually.
but you know, imagine you would really know what your fans really love.
Yes.
Kind of everybody knows.
I really think about that.
Yeah. Well, I think we believe, we know, but in that case we could actually really understand it's true. So we have like almost like a beta test. So you could maybe produce two songs, and you see one song, okay, people like it, and this song, it spikes.
Yes, you can do that kind of tests.
Yes.
Yes, it's very good actually.
Which would
I'm very impressed right now.
The craziest thing is, this is just the concept I was listening to you. So, theoretically, if this technology works, which I'm skeptical, but for the argument's sake, we all will walk around with a plus and minus sign in front of foreheads. So when you look at something, if the plus goes up, it means you liked it. If minus goes up, you didn't like it. That would be that transparent.
No, I
right?
have usually gray areas on my
No. For the sake of the argument.
I'm joking.
You are a woman, you should have gray areas. You are a man, you are black or white. It's very easy. So, this would really change the society, right?
I do believe, I mean, in a way you have to also admit, even Google does that a little already. It can detect on what part of the screen you look for how long. And of course, if there's, let's say you're shopping online and you're looking more than a certain amount of time into one direction and then there's a certain image, Google assumes you're interested.
Yeah, I know that.
Well, that's for marketing. Just think about this. You are watching TV, news. A politician comes up. The guy or woman says something. And you know if he or she is lying.
Yes.
That would change the whole program. And it would be fun.
Yeah, that's why this technology is kind of dangerous.
Actually, intrinsically, we know that if we are being lied to, right?
Isn't that?
I think we have an intuition about it. That's why we trust certain politicians and others not. But let's also be honest, Some people are also very tricky in lying and very good at it.
That's what marketing is. Right?
Yes.
You market a person in a way that person would be likable. You know that WWE, the American wrestling thing, which is fake by the way, but they make up characters. Likable ones, heels, the ones to be hated, the ones that will make people laugh. They make up the characters, but that person is not that. That's just marketing.
It's a show. It's a show.
Yeah. As long as you know that it's a show, it's fun. But if you think that it's real and you try to do what they are doing, you will hurt yourself. It's the same idea. As long as you know a person is lying to you, but you accept it, it's fine. That's the basis of woman and man relationship, anyways, right?
But then maybe also the base of a lot of misunderstanding. Let's be honest. I mean, if a man and a woman could be absolutely true to each other, and
there would not be any
no
relationships.
smoke screen, wouldn't that be fantastic to choose the right partner?
No.
Why not?
I believe it would.
No.
No.
Why no?
The basis of inter-sex relationships is lying. You have to show yourself that you are likable, which you are not. We are men. We are not likable. We are not clean. We are just doing stuff to make ourselves more presentable to women. If that technology comes in and you show your true self, I don't think any woman will be with you.
I'm not sure about that because look, I believe that everybody has a certain amount of people that fit to him or her. And if you're really honest, that match could be perfect, right? So you don't have to play, right? I mean, if I can be myself and somebody else is happy with me being myself, that's wonderful.
For that moment, though.
Of course, it's always in the moment.
Lose time and space. At that moment, you will be compatible. In 2 years, life happens, right? And you change. And your vibrations change.
I agree, but doesn't that anyway happen?
Yeah,
I mean, so you have a relationship to a person right now, and you're happy, everything is perfect.
By the way, I have a question to you actually. I'm curious about it. Can we use this technology on Hubble or James Webb telescopes? Is that possible?
When you look about a telescope, basically it's a device that just collects light. Just the image is far away, so it needs a certain amount of time to collect enough light so that we can see the image. So again, we have in the end a picture of something that is out there that is real. So steaming technology again can connect to this object or movement of an object or whatever we see. I mean, it could be a star, it could be a moon, it could be something at the firmament, you know. And the moment we let it run through the same technology, we can definitely see a lot more than what we can see only from the amount of light that we collected. So I know that Stephen has contacts with NASA and he's also working with NASA.
Oh, really?
Unfortunately, that work I've not seen because it's classified.
Sure.
And but I know there is attempts of also using the technology for this. Again, there's a lot more data, there's a lot more confidentiality, but I can just imagine what all is out there and what all can be seen. It's actually exciting.
Yes, of course, it's very exciting.
So thanks a lot for that question, because I think this is, so far we know very little about space.
Yeah, of course.
As far as I understand, Stephen's technology enhanced something in the photo. The photos that's taken from the telescopes are amalgam of different photos. It's not just a click of a photo. It takes a lot of different sources and it somehow fuses them to get a single photo. But the size of the photo is limited to pixels. But we don't know how Stephen enhances the photo, so it might be useful, but I don't know what kind of information you can get from that.
I mean, for example, when you look, for example, at the picture in the background, you can see a tornado, right? And the first picture you see right now, it's just as we know it. It's like a little wind which has slight different colors because there is particle and then the rest of the sky. If you see now at the following pictures, you can see different energy lines, and it has of different coloring also, that you can, for example, see the tunnel within the tornado, where we actually know things are flying actually up. And you can also see in the next picture different also side energy tunnels that exist within a tornado. So that is, for example, where his technology already is working right now, where you could, for example, say, okay, this tornado has this and this strength, it has this and this energy, and it maybe moves into this and that direction. So already in the moment, that's possible right now. So I would say there is, especially if it can, be in a live feed. For example, there is really a satellite uplink, and then there is constantly the information is updated to not only what we see, but also what's behind.
Maybe what will be because of the direction of the energy.
Exactly. So we could probably predict how this hurricane will develop in strength. We can probably predict where it will go. And I was actually having this discussion with him about the earthquake in Turkey that unfortunately recently.
So when you're talking about hurricanes and energy lines, theoretically, if Star Wars was real, we would see...
Oh, it's not real?
Yeah, they say so. So we would see when Darth Vader uses his force choke, we would see the energy lines, right?
If it were real, definitely, because any energy that moves in any direction of space and time is a real thing. Some we can feel, like wind, like sound. There's other energies, like for example radio waves, we normally don't feel, unless we are very close to a very, very high amplitude. Maybe then we get a headache. So all these flows of energy we can basically make visible with Stephen's technology. Yes.
Actually, everything vibrates.
Yes.
Everything vibrates, in the quantum level especially. So any change in the vibration you can detect through quantum theory methods, but theoretically. Because when you look at from the quantum physics side, especially theoretical side, when you measure particles, any attribute, when you measure one, the rest of it changes. So there's a very easy experiment about it. When you have a boxing glove, one of them is red, one of them is black. But the black one is right, the red one is left. When you close them in boxes, when you open them to just see the color, you say one of them is red, the other one is black. Okay, but you don't know which one is left or right. You close the box, open back again, you just look at the left or right, but you don't know if the left one is red and the black one is right. Because on the quantum level, everything changes fast. It doesn't have physical properties that we understand in the normal Newtonian physics realm. So when you get to this, if you can measure the energy lines on anything, then the truth will be much more visible to people. Because our eyes and perception is limited.
That is also one part, what I see where the technology may also has, it doesn't behave like normal science. In normal science, I have something, I let it fall, and we know because gravity exists, it falls in a certain speed, like 9.8 meters per second, right? If on a quantum level anything happens, it is maybe not always the same. Like, for example, there's a double slit experiment there where in one take electrons behave like particles, and when you observe, they behave like waves. So alone the observer changes the particles to behave like waves. The question is now, were they waves and just because they're unobserved they behave like particles? Or are there particles and they change into waves? So the observation in quantum mechanics changes always the experiment. So this is of course also something where one has to really see how the technology develops. Is there a difference if there's an observer, or maybe there's many observers? Does it change how the technology reacts? Will be the outcome be unpredictable, maybe erratic? Or will be the outcome predictable and scientifically, by old science, provable?
Old science? You mean the Newtonian physics, right?
Well, with old science, I mean, in old science, before we understood quantum mechanics, we never doubted that the electron is not a particle, because we had the first test and it showed a particle pattern. Now we understand that just by observing something, it changes. So I would say that is part of a new science, of a more advanced science, where basically the rules of what we believe to be true until now no longer 100% applies. So in a way, you know, especially being a musician, you have a very different dynamic when you sing at home in the shower, that maybe I would sing, and trust me, that's better that way, or you're in front of 20,000 people.
Yeah, sure, it's different.
There's a complete different energy, because everybody focuses on you in that moment, and it changes the whole performance.
But I have another question there. So the interchangeability of quantum particles. When you are saying that you are doing quantum imaging, it kind of comes with the fact that the result changes every time you try it.
Yes.
Which is not very stable, right?
That's a little bit the problem of any new technology, that the predictability of the technology is seen by the mind that predicts something it can calculate. But let's be honest, we cannot calculate the future. We believe we can. Look, if you look at a thought, let's just look at a thought. When we are talking about what we are talking right now, you're sitting here, I'm sitting here. It's a fact right now. Our thoughts are not moving in time. The moment our thoughts move into time, which I mean we project a future, it's a projection, it's not a reality, right? Because we don't know what even happens in 1 second. We believe we know, but we really don't know. Maybe a meteorite comes in 1 second and all this is gone. Most likely it's not. So the problem is, in quantum imaging, we can hardly predict what happens.
What the next level will be.
Yes.
Yeah, is that entanglement?
On one level, yes, because also you could say that quantum entanglement is something that is not, it's not separate from consciousness. The moment consciousness, which is everywhere, right? I mean, there is hardly a space where there is no consciousness, because, I mean, you know, in the Vedas, they say the fastest thing that exists is a thought. And today, in quantum physics, we are beginning to understand that thoughts may travel faster than the speed of light. So, because it's basically weightless, but it is something. A thought is something. It's something we can measure. It's something that can change even worlds. So, in a way, I have to also admit, to see right now what that technology will do is almost impossible. We can speculate.
Can we start this sentence again?
Which
well,
one?
You said. What did you say?
Stimulates.
Okay?
The thoughts are weightless. Let's start from
Yes.
that, because there were
Yes.
two balls jumping around.
Yes. So,
Just 1 minute.
okay, so the second part, that the thought travels faster than the speed of
Yeah,
light.
yeah, start from there.
Okay, so in the Vedas, basically, it is described that the fastest thing in the universe is a thought. And modern quantum mechanics already discovered that probably thoughts travel faster than the speed of light.
That's a probability, though. It's not scientifically
It's not yet proven, but there are some experiments that are very near proving it. So there is no space in time where there is no thought, where there is no consciousness. So in a way, our consciousness always creates also reality.
Yes.
And of course also our feeling and our perception of reality.
Because without projection, there is no science. Right?
I mean, in the end, we go to the old question, if there is nobody in the forest and a tree falls, is there a sound?
Yes.
It's not observable, there is not. Well, when I think about
Right?
new technologies,
Yes, that's right.
this is what comes to my mind. Say, go back like 200,000 years where we didn't even speak. We are just cavemen, and we
Good
have
old
never...
times, huh?
Yeah. It was fun for big guys. So you didn't have anything to reflect your image from. You just see the ponds, and you see yourself from the pond, from the murky waters, and somebody brings you a mirror, a new modern mirror, and you see yourself first. That would look like magic, right? And probably they will burn that person because
Or chase the person out of the cave.
because
Definitely.
they will either say he's showing my soul to myself. That's what happened.